today on the major economic development transactions between the U.S. and Russia.
The peace is respected. Our assistance may include other capacity building, perhaps for the military partners. This week, we've shared this information with other European countries, and we are ready and willing to provide those security.
We're helping Ukraine like nobody's ever helped Ukraine before. And I can say this, if I didn't become president, Ukraine would right now still be at a level where there would be no even thinking about a peace. And it's a sad thing that this happened. This would have never happened, this war, if I were president. Zero chance. And
About this just a moment ago. This is exactly what we want to do. We want to build peace with you.
And I will say this also. It could lead to World War III if it's not solved. You know, there'll be a point at which it's not going to stop at those two countries. Already there's such involvement from other countries. And it could really lead to a very big war, World War III. And we're not going to let that happen either. He's a smart customer, I will tell you that. European troops may go into Ukraine as peacemakers. So when the agreement is done, they can watch that everything is followed properly. I don't think that's going to be a problem. And I will be meeting with President Zelensky. In fact, he may come in this week or next week to sign the agreement, and which would be nice. I'd love to meet him. Would meet at the Oval Office. So the agreement's being worked on now. They're very close to a final deal. It'll be a deal with rare earths and various other things, and he would like to come, as I understand it, here to sign it, and that would be great with me. That is the most beautiful language.
Despite friendly rapport, US President Donald Trump and visiting French President Emmanuel Macron showed some stark differences Monday when it came to the war on Ukraine. Macron is the first European leader to visit the White House in Trump's second term. His visit also fell on the 3-year anniversary of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, and came as alarm grows in Europe over Trump's hardening stance toward Ukraine and overtures to Moscow. Speaking on Monday, Trump refused to call Russian President Vladimir Putin a dictator, while Macron made clear Putin had violated the peace.
This war costed all of us a lot of money. And this is the responsibility of Russia, because the aggressor is Russia.
At one point during their Oval Office meeting, Macron corrected the US president's claim that Europe had delivered all of its aid to Ukraine as loans.
Europe is loaning the money to Ukraine. They get their money back.
No, in fact, to be frank, we paid 60% of the total effort, and it was through, like the US, loans, guarantee, grants, and we provided real money, to be clear.
Trump expressed a desire for a ceasefire as quickly as possible and said he was trying to arrange one between Ukraine and Russia. He also said he could go to Moscow to meet Putin once a deal is reached. Macron, on the other hand, urged a more deliberate approach, starting with a truce and then a peace deal that includes guarantees.
My strong point was to say, let's try to get something first which can be assessed, checked and verified. And let's be sure that we build sufficient guarantees on the short run. And this is where we are ready to be engaged. As for France, a lot of my European colleagues are ready to be engaged. But we do need this American backup, because this is part of the credibility of the security guarantees. And this is our collective deterrence capacity.
The two did agree on the deployment of European peacekeeping forces once a deal is eventually reached. Trump said he accepts the concept, as does Putin. Trump also says he expects Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky to come to the United States soon in order to seal the deal on a revenue-sharing agreement on Ukrainian minerals. Trump hopes to recoup the costs of aid the previous Biden administration had sent to Kiev in the form of weapons to repel Russia. But Zelensky had so far rejected U.S. demands for $500 billion in mineral wealth. He said the United States had supplied nowhere near that sum so far and offered no specific security guarantees in the agreement. Macron later appeared on Fox News Channel's Special Report with Bret Baier, where he was optimistic over a Ukraine-Russia deal.
First, to have a truce. I think it could be done in the weeks to come.
He said a U.S. minerals deal with Kiev would be one of the best ways to ensure a commitment from Washington. Meanwhile, the French leader also opposed Washington increasing tariffs on Europe. He instead argued the priority for the U.S. should be on strengthening defense and security rather than engaging in trade disputes with Europe and China.